Ireland is a tax haven. That's the big truth that is kind of not permitted to be spoken. They don't like it being said. It's a particular sort of tax haven, to be clear. We're not the Cayman Islands. We play a different role. We're a conduit tax haven. So money comes through Ireland into countries like the Cayman Islands, where it then sits. But like we're a link in the chain of tax avoidance by big corporations. That truth is very damaging to the government's international reputation. And so therefore, from their perspective, they had to go all the way to fight to say, we're not, there was no special deal with Apple, when there clearly was a special deal with Apple in the form of these effectively rulings by revenue to say, oh yes, we'll allow your company to be treated in this way. Effectively, they were doing double Irish, but in a way that was even less separated. They're doing it in less separate companies. They were all doing it under kind of one umbrella. And the revenue was like, oh yeah, no, that's fine. We'll treat it as two separate entities, and this one's off, and that's fine. We won't make you pay any taxes, basically. So the Irish government had to defend their own reputation. That's what it was about. Obviously, they spent 10 million euros of our money to do that, which is quite scandalous. Fair enough if Apple wants to challenge it. There was no reason in the world, apart from the government defending themselves. And that isn't about Ireland's government's reputation in front of you or me, or ordinary people in Ireland, or ordinary people anywhere in the world. It's about defending their reputation before these corporations. They want to say to the corporations, don't worry, we're going to fight this interfering European Commission. We will fight tooth and nail for your right not to pay any taxes. And it's gas, you know, because this is an Irish government that, when it suits them, are like, oh, we can't do that because of European regulation. If you had a debate about nationalising the energy sector, they would say you can't do that because of European law. That's a grey area. We would dispute that, but that's what they would say. Yeah. Whereas when it comes to something affecting the corporations, then they put on the green jersey and they go to war with the public's money to defend the right of corporations not to pay any tax.
Why was Irish taxpayer money being spent in European courts to prevent the Irish taxpayer receiving a windfall?
Because the bottom line is the key ingredient in Ireland being so successful in attracting foreign direct investment into this country, and indeed the Apples of this world, who employ 6,000 people in Cork alone and are moving into Dublin as well now, is certainty of policy. And that was the key reason. Plus the independence of our revenue commissioners had to be affirmed. I mean, we didn't accept the ruling of the commissioner at the time, Commissioner Vestager, because there was no special deals done as far as we're concerned. And in order to give certainty to the wider foreign direct investment, so we had to protect the 200,000 jobs that are in our economy because of multinational investment. I've met them. I've been a Minister for Enterprise for 4 years. What they really want is certainty of policy and consistency of the application of policy. And I think actually in doing what we did, we sent a very strong signal to all the pharmaceutical companies in Ireland, the financial companies, technology companies from all over the world who are located in Ireland, have been for the last 25 to 30 years. This government stands by its word, and that is important in terms of future investment coming in. And over the last number of years, for example, Apple employment has grown exponentially as its products have grown around the world. We're the only location in Europe of that level of concentration of employees outside Cupertino in the US. So that's what worries me at times, and if you don't mind me saying so, in terms of that commentary, there's an element of we all taking for granted what has made this economy, you know, and enterprise has made this economy, and an environment that facilitated inward investment, which then in its own way has spawned domestic investment. So a lot of Irish companies have grown on the back of the multinationals because they supply into them. Then they grow and become international themselves. So this is important. So that's why the case was taken, to protect that.
Yeah.
You know,
we're now at the stage where the case was overturned. So the European courts have found that they owed us the money.
Yeah.
I think it's a strange one, isn't it? Where
it is,
there's a case of a foreign multinational company that owes the country money. During this entire case, the money was left in an escrow account that it seems to the general public that they were going to pay it anyway. But Ireland continued to fight the case in the courts to stop that money being paid to it. Now you've got government parties like Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael proposing how they're going to spend that money. I suppose Is there a little bit of brass neck about it?
No,
That's like, the government parties have been fighting this case in the court, and now they're saying, now that we have it, this is how we'll spend it.
Well, no, the escrow account is because the case was going on, so no one could take it because it hadn't been determined who was entitled to it.
Sure.
Apple were fighting it. Not just the Irish government were fighting this, Apple was fighting it as well. And don't underestimate the fact that 200,000 jobs are out there in this sector. Certainty and consistency of policy is one of the reasons we've attracted those jobs in and kept them and also expanded them. I know this from meeting with companies. They don't like going to countries where it changes every 4 years and they can't plan with certainty. If you're a biopharmaceutical company that's investing $1 billion like Eli Lilly in Limerick, you need to know that you have a steady horizon over the next 20 years that you can get back that investment and make it work. And Ireland is interested in making it work because it creates jobs in Ireland. So it's all about jobs and high quality jobs. And that's the context. I think if you don't mind me saying so, there can be a simplistic, crude way of looking at it. And then, look, the courts have decided. So now the government, the state has that money. So it has to allocate. And the key in the allocation is it's once off anyway. So we're saying, okay, what do we need to do strategically as a country? And let's apply that money to that.
What do you think it says about the priorities of Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael to be pursuing a case to not receive 14 billion euros and spending taxpayers' money to do so?
Yeah, and I suppose the first thing we'll say is that initially the European Commission did accept the arguments of the Irish government, and it goes to the heart of, we believe in an economy that can produce tax revenue that we can spend. We believe in attracting investment from outside Ireland. We're a small country. We rely on outside investment and open trading. We rely on a growing economy to provide jobs and to provide revenue. And we had a very clear taxation system in place to attract other people. So we simply disagreed with the European ruling, and we would have had the very clear position back then that if we didn't challenge this, we'd have been complete abdicating ownership of our taxation system. Now, we have made subsequent changes. We've brought it up with international norms that they have changed, and we do accept the ruling. And I think it goes quite clear to the Irish people. The message is I think this Apple money has been spent politically 100 times in my time in the Dáil. Every time there's an issue rose up, an opposition party said we could use the Apple money for this. You can only spend money once. And the point that we made is you have to be able to generate wealth that you can invest in our communities, invest in our society. And so that's why we challenged it. But we accept the ruling of the European courts. We now know the responsibility rests on the next government to choose how to spend this money. And we've been quite clear, it must be spent on infrastructure and housing, not just first and foremost, that'll be there to benefit the Irish people who will get homes, but also be able to make the most of that infrastructure, but also this will support our continuing economic growth. By investing in our energy, in our water, in homes for staff, we will continue to be able to attract investment and trading opportunities. Businesses invest in Ireland for lots of different reasons. Taxation is certainly one of them, but the biggest one is we have the most highly educated workforce in the EU. We're English speaking, we're a common law jurisdiction, and we have a connectivity into the world's largest economic bloc, that is the European Union. We will continue to push that, and we have a track record in Fine Gael of pushing that